Hey, hi, and welcome back. So we are discussing about Azure Kubernetes services. This is second session, and we are going to talk about Kubernetes cluster architecture in this session. So Kubernetes cluster architecture, a Kubernetes cluster is divided into two components. One is control plane node, control plane core Kubernetes services, and orchestration of your application workload. And the node run your application workload. This is a basic fundamental concept. So when you are going to run your application, it is going to run on your nodes. The Kubernetes control plane, you have to communicate with your nodes. So we'll go deep dive into Kubernetes control plane. The Kubernetes control plane is automatically created and configured. When you are going to deploy your AKS cluster, it is automatically get created and configured for you. There is no cost for the control plane. A control plane and its resource resides only on the region where you create the cluster. So when you are going to create any cluster, you will provide the location for that cluster. So all the resources will be reside on the same region. AKS provides a single tenant control plane with a dedicated API servers. So Azure Kubernetes Service provide a single tenant control plane with a dedicated API servers. So that API server will not be shared resource. So let's see the core component of the API servers. So first is API server. What is API server? API server is a gateway for interaction with your control plane. The kube scheduler is second part. The kube scheduler is run your workload on the nodes. The etcd is a backend database store your state of cluster and configuration within your Kubernetes cluster. The kube scheduler manager perform certain action as per their role, such as your pods, scaling pods, then your RAS. So we will go deep dive into nodes. What is a nodes? To run your application workload, you need Kubernetes nodes. The node is VM which run Kubernetes component and cluster. The Azure VM's size for your nodes defines CPU, memory and disk such as high performance SSD or regular HDD. The kubelet is a Kubernetes agent that process orchestration requests from your control plane and schedule requested pods. That means it is accept request from your scheduler manager from the control node. The kube proxy handles virtual networks and route traffic on each node and update node IP tables for service and pods. So this is component kube proxy which is handle internal networking for on the nodes. The container runtime allows container application to run and communicate with other resources such as storage and network. So this is a container runtime will help to communicate with additional resources. When you scale out the number of nodes as per your requirement, so it will only you have to pay for that node, which size you are going to use, what is the performance you need from that node, you can decide on your requirement. In AKS, the VM image for the node in your cluster is currently based on Ubuntu Linux. For Windows, it is on Windows Server 2019. When you scale out, agent node are billable as a standard virtual machine. If you receive any offer or any benefit, it will be automatically applied when you spin up your node. If you need to use a different host OS or container runtime, or include custom package, you can deploy your own Kubernetes cluster using AKS engine. So AKS is running on open source Kubernetes engine that's called a AKS engine. Now we will see next session. We will see the resource reservation. When you create your AKS cluster, there are some resource reservation is already provisioned by your AKS. Your node resources are utilized by AKS to make node functions as part of your cluster. If you want to see what is the utilization, you can use kubectl describe node command and provide the node host name. So it will describe all your nodes, what is the memory available, how the CPU, how much CPU millicores available, what is the current utilization, how many pods it is running. So all the description you will get from that node. So you have to run your kubectl describe node and node host name. So we will see into demonstration. Next session we are going to create the AKS cluster. To just keep in understand the describe command, we will see the all commands, but this is Kubernetes kubectl describe command will describe all your node parameters. To maintain node performance, some resources are reserved for by AKS. If in a CPU, the reservation depend on your node and cluster configuration. So now the measuring unit has been changed in Kubernetes. So it is in millicores. So if you are using host with a single core processor, into that kube reserve 60 millicores. Means if you have one core server, one core is equal to 1000 millicore. So out of 1000, the 60 will be reserved by the cubes. If you are using 2 core CPU, then it is reserved by the cube, it is 100. So it will be go on and on. If you are using AKS add-on such as a container insight, we call OMS, will consume additional node resources, which may cause less allocatable CPU due to running additional features. The memory utilized by AKS includes some of 2 values. One is eviction rule. The memory available is less than 750 millicore. Then the daemon will be kill running pods on that node and make 750 millicore should be available to perform your node. The regressive rate, if you are using a 4 GB RAM, the second value is regressive rate. If you are using a 4 GB RAM, out of 4 GB, 25 of the first will be reserved by the daemon side. If you are using a next 4 GB, if you are using 8 GB up to 8 GB, the 20% of next 4 GB of memory will be reserved. A kubelet daemon is installed on all Kubernetes agent node to manage container creation and termination. This daemon has the following evacuation rule, which means a node must always have at least 750 millicore allocatable at all time. When a host is below that threshold of available memory, the kubelet will terminate one of the running pods to free memory on the host machine and protect it. This action basically triggered when memory decreased beyond the 750 millicore threshold. The above rules of memory and CPU allocation are used to keep agent node healthy, and your performance will be good. So we'll see the nodes. Nodes of the same configuration are grouped together into node pool. What is a node pool? The group of same configuration node. The default node pool will create while AKS cluster creation. If you see in bash shell, in bash command we will use to create a AKS cluster. If we will provide a node count, how many node count you are going to provide, that will be created into a default node pool, and it is grouped together as the same configuration. All Kubernetes cluster can contain one or more node pools, so we can have different node pools. So we can take a configuration of that node pool if we can for the specific application, and we can create those node pool. So those node pool contain nodes will be same configuration. Upgrade and scale out for node pool. When we upgrade and scale out, it will be default applicable to the node pool. Even we can use specific parameter and we can provide the node pool name for the different node pool. So next component we will see the namespaces. So what is the namespaces? The Kubernetes resource deploy in namespace which is logically grouped. So when we are going to deploy any resources, or it will be logically grouped together, and we can call as a folder, or we can call as a folder. So we can apply the permission, we can restrict the access. So these are the namespaces, different namespaces we can create. This use can create a variance between your nodes total resources and resource allocated them in AKS. The namespace allowed to restrict access for creation and modification of resources. If you see in this snap, you will understand this is my AKS cluster, and I have two namespaces. One is AZApp namespace, which is used by my application team, and this is Kube system namespace. This is system namespace used by the administrator or Kubernetes administrator. So these are the two namespaces. Instead of giving all rights on our cluster, we can only provide rights on our namespaces. When you create a AKS cluster, the following namespaces are available. So when we deploy our AKS cluster, by default there are three namespaces will be available. First is default. This default namespace is where pods and deployments are created by default when none is provided. When we deploy any pods or deployments, we can specify the namespace, but if we are not specify any namespace, it is by default create into default namespace. Second is Kube system. This namespace is where your system core resources exist. And third is public, Kube public. This namespace typically we are not going to use anytime, but when we need. So if we want to visible any cluster resource across our cluster, or can view by any user, so we can use this namespace. So these are the namespace by default when it will be we deploy any cluster.